Now at 11 o'clock, President Joe Biden under pressure to convince America that he is the best candidate to beat Donald Trump. And during a critically important press conference, President Biden forcefully pushed back against any idea that he's no longer fit to serve.
The president defiantly told reporters that he had a job to finish on behalf of the American people and was staying in the race. But President Biden's arguments that he should be reelected were undercut by alarming verbal gaffes and more questions about his fitness. Tonight, there is word his advisors are trying to determine how to convince him to end his campaign.
John Fanilio joins us here in the studio now with more on the growing pressure on the president. John.
Sure, Rick, that's right. This was a high-stakes news conference, President Biden's first in some 8 months. Now, it was unscripted and ran almost an hour. The president answered about 11 questions on his age and fitness to serve. He slammed Donald Trump, and he repeated his vow to stay in the race despite mounting pressure.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Facing growing concerns about his age and ability to beat Donald Trump in November, President Biden taking tough questions from reporters as his campaign hangs in the balance.
I think I'm the most qualified person to run for president. I beat him once, and I will beat him again.
Defiant at times, even leaning into the podium, the president firing back at questions about his fitness and diminishing poll numbers.
There are at least 5 presidents running or incumbent presidents who had lower numbers than I have now.
The president has been in damage control mode since his dismal debate performance late last month, with a small but growing number of Democratic lawmakers and donors calling on him to withdraw from the race.
We must win this election. It is an existential threat to have Donald Trump in the White House again, and Joe Biden has to address and allay concerns so as to win this election.
Democratic senators meeting in private with members of the Biden campaign Wednesday, while the president closed out the NATO summit with world leaders, where he stumbled while speaking. Biden mistakenly introduced Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as President Putin before quickly correcting himself. Then, at the press conference, he misspoke again, accidentally calling Vice President Harris Vice President Trump.
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Not amazing and not terrible.
Loyola law professor Jessica Levinson says, despite a few flubs, the president demonstrated command and control, especially when discussing foreign policy.
He did have his gaffes. He did have lots of pauses. He is somebody who cannot hide his age, nor should we ask anybody to hide their age. But I think it was much better than the debate and not as good as some people would hope. And that leaves the Democratic Party, I think, exactly where they don't want to be.
For now, Biden is vowing to fight on.
I'm not in this for my legacy. I'm in this to complete the job I started.
15 House Democrats and at least 1 senator are calling on the president to step down. Tonight, Mr. Biden said he would, in fact, get a neurological test if his doctors recommend it, but said so far they have not. Back to you.
John, thank you.